mean, during the Depression, Dad and Mother would help out the people that lived in our apartment house.
Hmm.
You know, the Daniels lived on the one side, and he never worked. He was off for a whole year. So Mom would make pasta fazool and great big pot. We had one of, you know, those big
Did she make her own pasta for the pasta fazool?
She used to make that, you know.
Where was Leopold and Bigley at, Nana?
It was on 11th Avenue.
And what kind of company was it?
Clothing.
Yeah. So as soon as you, what's that street? As soon as you go down that street and make the right to go to 11th Avenue, what used to be 11th Avenue, it was on that first block, wasn't it?
Yeah.
On the left-hand side.
You see where the bridge is, or the post office?
Yeah.
Well, then it's on the other side. It would be on the right-hand side. Yeah.
Where the Green Avenue Towers is?
Yeah. It's in there. It was in there. There was a place to eat there. I used to take you.
I remember being in that building.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Lucretia's
Bridal.
bridal was in there. Yeah.
My dad's old bar was in there, the Eldine Cafe.
Yeah.
It was a dive.
It was a living.
Yeah, I mean,
But that's all changed uptown. It's so changed. And then Dad would buy me the best clothes. Maren Jonason's he'd go, and I had clothes from Brett's all the time. I took you into Brett's, remember? Yeah.
You kind of spoiled.
And you had silk stockings, huh, Nana? That was like a big deal back then.
You know what? He'd buy me a dozen nylon stockings, and nobody had them because you couldn't get them at the time. And all my friends couldn't get over that Dad would buy me a dozen. He'd buy me a nightgown, whole dozen.
How much were stockings back then, Nana?
Oh, I don't even remember.
The point was you couldn't get them.
You couldn't get them, period.
So where
How
did
did he
he
get 'em?
Yeah, that was my next question.
Because the salesman would come into Leopoldo and Bigley.
Hmm.
He
had
just
access-
smoothes them. Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Really something.
Hmm.
Danny had the best clothes. I mean, you know, for
Was he a dapper?
very much so, just like his. And my dad was a dapper boy. I can remember him with spats.
With spats, what are they, Nana?
They're a thing that cover over your shoes.
You know, like a white thing with
Oh,
buttons
yeah.
on
Put
the
it over
side.
your shoes.
I have a wedding picture that you could see them. He gave my one cousin away because her dad had passed away, and he took care of them. He was a guardian of the kids.
Which cousin was that,
And he's
Nana?
the one. My dad bought a truck for Danny and Mike Marabella. He bought them a truck and put them in
Garbage truck.
business so that they could help.
The paint business, or no?
No, they had a garbage truck.
Garbage
Wow.
and coal.
They hauled stuff.
So he hauled stuff. But he started them in that.
Wow.
Yeah.
He
He
was
was
an
good.
entrepreneur as well.
Yeah, he was good to them. And we used to walk. I can remember from 14th Street to Lloyd Street. Now that's a long walk.
Why did you walk? Where
There
were you?
was no cars at that time.
Right.
So we walked with my parents. We'd go visit because my aunt lived on East 3rd Avenue.
Which aunt
my
was that?
uncle lived on East 3rd Avenue, and I had cousins,
Hmm.
Lepores, you know, they had all those kids, 15 kids.
Oh my gosh. It's a lot of kids, Nana.
Yeah,
That was Carrie.
no,
And
my uncle, that was Uncle Tony, he lived at the corner of Lloyd Street.
But Carrie was one of the kids.
Carrie.
Carrie, yeah.
Yeah.
She's living in the towers now.
That's your
He didn't
cousin.
live right at the corner. He lived one house down.
One house down.
Yeah.
Uncle
So your
Tom.
dad didn't have a car?
No,
He didn't drive, Nana?
no.
He didn't
why-
want to?
We lived up here on East First Avenue,
Mm-hmm.
and whenever, or not East First Avenue,
Crawford.
First Avenue, Crawford,
Crawford
and,
Avenue.
and 3rd Street. And we were only there a year. And Dad said he got his job at Leopoldo and Bigley, and he had to walk from there clear into town.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
He
how
would
long do you think that took him, Nana?
I don't know. Probably about
So
15,
he would go
20
over like
minutes.
that walkway.
I bet it took
Yeah,
That
longer
went
than
over
that.
the tracks, right? Because you'd have to climb up and
yeah.
over.
That's a long.
So then he bought a place down there 14th Street.
So it'd be closer to work.
So he could walk back and forth to work.
Huh. What?
He'd come home for lunch. My mother would have food for him. In the meantime, I would bring some of my friends over because I was allowed to come home for lunch from school.
Huh.
I had a permit that I could go back and forth at lunchtime.
Was that when your mom was sick?
And then my friends they'd sneak out.
Well, when
And
you
they'd
were
come
young,
home
your
with
mom
me.
wasn't sick then. When I was a little kid, we went home for lunch at school.
Yeah, I went home for lunch at
Did
school.
ya?
Too. In
Yeah.
grade school, not high school then.
Yeah.
Same.
We had
Well, so
Emerson,
did I.
Emerson's school then.
When I was at Washington, I came home for lunch?
Yeah, you come
Yeah.
home here.
Wow.
You have an hour off for lunch, go home, sit down with mom.
Wow.
Pat was the best student up there at Washington.
I bet he was.
He was.
Aww.
The principal was
Mrs. Who was the
Mrs.
principal?
It was
Who
Miss
was it?
Bryan,
And
and then she married Love.
yeah, Mrs. Love.
Yeah.
They
And that's
lived right down there, corner, right?
where Nat
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh,
Chris,
I remember. They had a piano in that one room. I remember Dad talking about that.
right.
Lois, we gotta get
I know,
going.
if you have something to do at 4 o'clock, we gotta get moving.
Yeah. We're probably gonna head out too, Nana.
Boy, oh boy.
Everybody's sleeping all at
All
once.
right, before you go, you have to put everything away.
I think we can do it.
What do you think, Nana?
What do I think?
Is there a lid for this somewhere?
I don't know.
There. And I need to go shut the water. I
Nana
already took the
signing off,
watermelon
huh?
off.